What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. FPL Harry here, and it is finally time to start looking ahead to Game Week 17. It feels so good to be back recording FPL videos. I know it's still a week, 2.5 weeks actually away from Game Week 17 being done, but the round of 16 in the World Cup is done. We're starting to get a lot of those big teams being knocked out. We're starting to have a look at how that could impact our Game Week 17 teams, and I've just been bored not being able to record any videos for you all. So I know it's a long way away, but I am going to start uploading semi-regularly for the first week or so. It won't be that many videos, and then we'll get into the swing of it as the World Cup draws to a close. I am enjoying it a lot, but I am missing FPL content as well. One of the main reasons as well I do want to start uploading is because I'm raising money for charity during the month of December. That is right. 50% of all the money that I raise from YouTube is going to go to a charity quite close to my heart called Action for Children. This is a charity that supports underprivileged children and families across the UK, including foster homes, including physical and mental well-being as well. There are plenty of ways that you can support: super chats or super thanks on the bottom of videos or in live streams, joining as a channel member. All that revenue will be included in 50% going to the charity during the month of December. Or, of course, just watch the videos. All the ad revenue from all the videos does get included. Make sure you've liked, make sure you've subscribed as well, because those things will help the video to get shared to more people, and more views means more money being raised for charity. So thank you all who are going to watch this, who've got this far. You are contributing and raising money for a great charity this December. But that's a bit of housekeeping. Let's have a look at some Game Week 17 news. So one of the big bits of news we have had is a double game week announcement, or a few double game weeks falling in Game Week 19, Game Week 20 and Game Week 23. Now these doubles include Fulham and Chelsea in Game Week 19, so not long after the restart we then have a double for those two clubs. Then Game Week 20 you have Manchester City and Tottenham. Then Game Week 23 you have Arsenal against Manchester City as well being added. So you do note that Manchester City have two double game weeks, so when picking your Game Week 17 team you do want to consider how you can maybe have 2 or 3 Manchester City assets. You've got Fulham and Chelsea in there as well. You might want to be, if you've got a 50-50 call between an asset like Mitrovic or an asset like someone else, you might want to favour Mitrovic because of that upcoming double game week. Now, it is worth bearing in mind that there might be more double game weeks to be announced between now and Game Week 17 starting. There is, of course, a round of cup fixtures to take place the week before Christmas, the week before Game Week 17 takes place, and the outcomes of those could announce a few more double game weeks, including Game Week 21, which currently has none in, but there's a lot of free days that a lot of matches could be in there. So bear with us when we try and predict what goes on there or any announcements that we get, but these are the 3 matches that we've had so far. And then in terms of this wildcard team, again, if you have not already, smash that like button. We're going to try and hit 1,000 likes on the video. It is a big ask, but we're doing it for charity this month. In goal, I've gone with what is going to be the very, very popular duo in Kepa and in Danny Ward. There is no doubt that Danny Ward is going to be in all of your wildcard teams. There's absolutely no doubt that he should be in every single one of your teams. The first couple of games for Leicester are not ideal, but from then on out, from Game Week 19 onwards, they have a great run of fixtures, and Danny Ward at 4.1 million now, he has to be the go-to goalkeeper. You could also go with Ward and Iverson. I do quite like that if you do need to free up a little bit of money. The other keeper we've got is Kepa of Chelsea. They have a great first 2 fixtures in Game Week 17 and Game Week 18, whilst Danny Ward has difficult games. You can start Kepa in those two, and then of course he has that double game week in Game Week 19 that we saw in the previous one against Fulham as the second match there. So again, a nice option in Danny Ward, and then we have a great start to Game Week 17, 18, 19 for Kepa to be the second goalkeeper. I do think it is going to be Kepa that starts in goal for Chelsea. As a Chelsea fan, I do not see Mendy getting back in that lineup. Now, Chelsea have not looked that great defensively, but with the likes of Reece James, Chilwell, Fofana, all likely to be back fully fit for Chelsea going into Game Week 17, it does bode well for the amount of clean sheets that they are able to keep. Moving into defence now, we do have a cheap option in here. 4 million is Patterson. I had a lot of success with him earlier in the season. He's probably my favourite cheap option, likely to start right back or right wing back for Everton. Everton have been a bit suspect recently in terms of the games before the World Cup. Hopefully they've had a lot of time on the training ground together to get a bit stronger, but 4 million for him is a fantastic pick. And then the other 4, basically my plan for my defence is I don't want to have to make transfers to it practically at all unless we get double or blank game weeks announced after Game Week 17, that then maybe I need need to plan my transfers around. Of course, I've got Cancelo in here. For me, he is the number one option I think we should be going and buying. The only concern, it depends on how far Portugal go in the World Cup. If, for example, they do reach the final, there is the chance that he doesn't start game week 17, for example. But after that, once it's a regular flow of games, he is the most nailed that we've got. His attacking threat and bonus point is proven over many, many seasons, of course. Then we do have Kieran Trippier. Of course, Kieran Trippier likely to be in all of our teams. Newcastle looking great defensively. Whether you're going for Nick Pope as well, Kieran Trippier is an essential pick, I think, in all of our defences. And then the two cheap options, two defences that have punished me in the first half of the season. Manchester United, I've gone with Diego Dallo, and then we've got Ben White. Now, Ben White has been sent home from the World Cup on personal circumstances. We don't actually have an update, but I am hoping that he's going to be okay and he's going to be fine to play in game week 17. Then, of course, we have Diego Dallo, Manchester United. They start game week 17 and onwards with a really nice run of fixtures. So although Arsenal's is not that nice, we are planning for the double with Ben White, and they are one of the most solid defences in the league. So I'll probably only start 3 of these defenders each week. We've got Cancelo, Trippier, and then probably one of the other 2 in Diego Dallo and Ben White as well. Moving into midfield, we have found space for Mo Salah. It was a very, very close call about whether I wanted to go and get him, but the big break that he's had, along with the likes of Diego Jota, Ruben Diaz, Bobby Firmino, and now Darwin Núñez as well being knocked out of the World Cup, means I think that Liverpool team will hit the ground absolutely flying over the games after the World Cup, and I wanted a piece of that. For me, there's enough rotation in the other positions that I needed to find the money to go and buy Mo Salah. Now, I have exactly 0.0 million in the bank, and some of you may not be able to afford this team, and there are a few places that you could go and downgrade, but I do think having Salah is going to be very popular. Next to him, we have another highly owned option in Martinelli. Again, that Arsenal double game week is a very, very key focus for me. Like we got Ben White, like we got Martinelli in there. I don't think Martinelli is a fantastic option given how he performed and actually their opening few fixtures, but again, we're planning for that double. Without Gabriel Jesus, it's probably likely that Nketiah starts up front, but there is a chance that Smith Rowe goes out on the left-hand side and Martinelli is the one that decides to lead the line for Arsenal. So I like him at his price. The opening fixtures are okay, but he's going to be in there because I have a lot of value tied up in him. The other cheap option that we've got in here is Miguel Almiron, a player that punished me again in the final few game weeks before the World Cup. He's risen up to all the way to 5.8 and I had to pay max price for him. Anyone who got him earlier is absolutely laughing. I've had to pay full price, but I do still think he'll do well. Now, he is a very rhythm-based player. He does like to play a lot of games and continue his fluidity. The big break over the World Cup, I don't think will do him necessarily any good, but at 5.8, I still think he continue to perform well and tick along with the points. The cheap option that we've got in here is Andreas Pereira of Fulham. Of course, Fulham have that double game week coming up where I could decide to play him. If not, he's just a great cheap option to have on my bench. And finally, in midfield, we have gone with Kevin De Bruyne. With Belgium being knocked out of the World Cup, with Haaland being at home, those two are going to be linking up between game week 17, 18, 19, while they're playing against tired defences who haven't had a rest or been at the World Cup. And Kevin De Bruyne and Erling Haaland are two players with full rest that are going to be linking up like they did before the World Cup started. So really like having him in there. I did manage to squeeze him in. Now, because I've got Salah, because I've got De Bruyne, and because I've also got Erling Haaland, it means I have a premium in this draft. 3 premium options. What it does mean is I have no of that mid-price midfielder, which is the only downfall for me in this draft. And it could be the reason I decide to move away from this first draft, having a premium and maybe going to 2 premiums. But I don't see which of Salah, De Bruyne and Erling Haaland I want to drop. So, of course, Haaland is in there. The other one we've got Mitrovic in there again for the double game week and Serbia being knocked out of the World Cup. A good full rest for him to recover from any knocks and injuries he's had, which has been a slight pain in the first half of the season for him. And then finally up front we've gone with Martial. Without Cristiano Ronaldo there, I think Martial will lead the line until potentially Gakpo comes in, who could sign, as he's had a great World Cup from the Netherlands, has been strongly linked to Manchester United. I would like Marcus Rashford in my midfield, but I don't really think it does my squad structure any good. If I sell Andreas to Marcus Rashford, I then have a 4.2 striker who's not going to get any minutes. So I have gone with Martial because without Ronaldo, I do think he is going to lead the line. And when he does start and that front 4 start together, they do tend to look really good. And Martial is definitely capable of scoring a lot of goals, given that he's had all of this time off over the World Cup as well. So this draft does leave no money in the bank. If you wanted to free a little bit up, you could do De Bruyne down to Phil Foden, for example. You could do that Martial down to a 4.2 and Andreas up to Marcus Rashford, for example. You could downgrade one of the defenders as well. There's a few options in here if you do want to save and need to save a little bit of money as well. But this is my team with the budget I have and 0.0 million exactly in the bank going into game week 17. This is a first draft. draft, and I will be releasing updated drafts as the World Cup goes on, as we have news from the press conferences and of course the cup games that we have to take place before Game Week 17. It is an absolute pleasure to be back. Of course, during December, one final reminder, we are trying to raise money for Action for Children, a charity, with 50% of all the money I earn from YouTube over December going to that. So if you have enjoyed the video, if you want to support charity, make sure you've liked the video, make sure you've subscribed to the channel as well. We're going to try and hit 40,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Thank you all for watching. It is great to be back, and I'll be back again very soon.